See the bubbles. Okay, quick message, real quick. I gotta get this in while the house is quiet. My brother's left, so I want to make sure that there's no interferences. So let's get it. Um, so while I was in between states this morning, if you guys don't know what that means, in between states basically is like when you're about to fall asleep but you're still kind of awake, or you're asleep but you're about to wake up, that type of thing. So I was this morning in between states, like of waking up. Like I was asleep but I was about to wake up, and in that space I heard, this is how I know I be hearing God clear. Like sometimes it's so audibly clear, sometimes it'll come in like subtly, but you could still, like, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, I heard it and it was like decision. And in between sleep I was like, decision. Decision, yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna need help with this message to get it out real clear, because you guys know I can like go all over the place and it's just like, girl, get straight to the point. But so I was hearing decision, and then I fell back into a sleep. I went back to sleep. Like I was like kind of getting pulled out of it, but then um I was getting pulled out of it, but I was going back into sleep. I don't know how to describe this. So I went into a sleep and I was dreaming, and God took me to like a specific scene in my dream. So this scene in my dream, like what was going on or whatever, the interaction that was happening, it was kind of like something playing out or whatever. Like God was giving me clarity about something, or I wouldn't say clarity, excuse me, giving me like strategy in my dream. Like, okay, remember how I was, thank you, God. Remember how I was saying, like, in a few messages, I've been getting this so strongly, and this message won't leave me. It might be a message that comes through all year. I don't know, because I did get that this is a year of seeing your things that you've written down on paper, basically, um, a testimony. And I recall years ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year ago and a half or so, I don't remember. I think it was during like the pandemic or whatever. I was getting a message to record, whether you're recording your own voice or you're recording yourself on video or you're documenting something about a testimony as if it's already manifested. Fast forward to this year, 2022, I was getting all these messages about writing your dreams out, getting a journal, writing your dreams, whether this is your waking dreams, your visions that you have for your life, or divine visions that God has given you, or prophetic dreams, whatever, to write them out. So same thing goes with this. Your dreams are giving you insights. I can't stress this enough. Like, I know, like, I might sound crazy to some people and maybe not to some people. It's just a matter of who ears it falls upon and what you do with the message. And I pray that you do well with the message, something positive with it, something helpful, not only for yourself, but maybe somebody else, because your dream might be something helpful to somebody else. But, yeah, that dream was like giving me like strategies and pieces to the puzzle. That's another message that's been coming through a lot, is puzzle pieces, right? And as they say in the, I guess, I don't know if it's a Christian community thing, a church thing, where they say prophecy is told in parts, where you'll get pieces of the prophetic message until that whole thing comes into pass. So every piece, it has relevance. There's relevance to it. So you're getting little sneak peeks here and there. And that's why God is saying, like, please document your dreams, because when you're documenting your dreams, they're different pieces to the message. And then it's all going to make sense at some point. It's going to make sense later. And today has been such a crazy day of confirmations, almost like to the point where it's kind of scary, like very, very scary. It's like a momentum being pulled up. I think it was this morning, the message this morning, the climax. I don't remember how I said it. Something about interferences. Was it in that, or was that a personal reading I did for somebody? I don't remember. Trying to remember. Um, what? See, God is crazy. I'm trying to go on YouTube on my other phone to find the video, make sure that I'm giving you guys the right information. And I come across this video, and the girl's message is, "You got the keys." Isaiah 22:22. And all I've been talking about was that scripture. This is so crazy. I'm going to have to watch this later. I'm going to save this for later. God, where is that video at? I'm trying to remember. Did I say something about watching out for divine? And I think I did. Like, pay attention to divine instructions. But I remember saying something about interferences, like demonic interference, right? Anytime something is flowing and moving, there will be something to try to like throw you off, to distract you, to derail you from the divine plans. See, so I'm trying to cut my throat chakra off. Divine plans, or trying to kind of throw you off and discourage you from something coming into alignment. So watch out for that. That still stands. There will always be something to try to distract you or try to throw you off. And it goes back to the dream where I heard audibly, I heard very clearly decision. I heard decision, and I'm thinking to myself in between states, I'm like, decision? What decision do I need to make? So I went back into sleep, and that's when God showed me this vision. It's 4:44 p.m. here as I'm saying this. Took me back into sleep, and then somebody one of my brothers knocked on my door and distracted me out of my dream, and it pulled me out of that space. So be very careful. And when I say careful, not from a place of fear, but from a place of discernment and a place of vigilance, of distractions and of interference. Things trying to come into your experience to distract you or try to interfere or try to cause you to feel discouraged. Okay. But yeah, there might be a decision that you guys need to make. Whatever that decision is, it's very crucial for whatever is about to unfold, whatever is about to manifest. It could just be as simple and maybe not so simple sometimes, but within self saying, I'm going to be courageous, or I'm going to step out on faith, or I'm going to speak my truth, or I'm going to cut this out of my life, or I'm not going to allow this to block me anymore. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be something outside of yourself, a decision that you make. It could be something internally that you declare within yourself. You make that choice, you make that decision. So whoever this is meant for, I pray this is helpful to you, because I heard it very clear. Decision. And sometimes God is simple like that. You don't got to hear a whole full-on message, a whole sentence, a whole paragraph. Sometimes you just hear a word and that's it, and your spirit will know what it is. Maybe you don't understand it at the time, but you're going to register it later on what that means. And remember, I was saying the energy of climax, there's an energy that's at its biggest peak today, right now. I'm seeing something like the energy is freaking crazy. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's like divine synchronicities back to back to back. It's like to the point where it's just like, you got to ride the wave. Like, literally, don't be scared, ride the wave. If you get scared, you'll fall off that thing. Like, you'll fall off the surfboard if you don't stay. You got to ride that wave when it comes. And I'm telling you, if you look at surfboard, yeah. When you look at the tides or the waves and you try to look down or whatever, you're gonna fall off. So don't look down. Don't look back. Don't be distracted. I'm telling you, I don't know why God is saying this. It's reiterating. Do not get distracted. Do not allow people to distract you. Listen to your own. At the end of the day, yeah, you can take this advice, whether this might be confirmation or revelation for somebody, whatever it might be to you, or someone else's guidance or messages. At the end of the day, though, I'm always going to say this. Going to say this. I'm going to stand on this till the day that I die. God is our first and foremost source for all information. Everything we need to know is already within. You don't got to go outside of yourself and think, thankfully, God will use messengers. God will use little synchronicities. They'll use people and things and places or whatever, a dream, music, whatever, to get our attention and to get a message to us. But our source of information is the Alpha and the Omega. There's no way around that. That is the first source of everything that you need to know. So, at this time, be very sensitive to what you're listening to, who you're getting advice from, who you're telling your business to, because yeah, people might mean well. And I say this too, like, it doesn't have to be that people are sinister trying to, work against you, but some people, they're not in the space to speak things into your life, or they might be at a certain place within themselves. It might not resonate with you and where you're at. And sometimes God will allow that to happen. So you get to a place where you have no choice but to trust and not trust in anything outside of you. And that is the thing. I even remember for a time, like, no matter if I was trying to pull cards or whatever, the messages would just not come out clear. And I was just like, something's wrong. Like, yeah, you got to check your energy and make sure you're in the right. Make sure you're protecting your energy when you're tapping into spiritual stuff, that, you're not allowing something in, you're not in the wrong energy. Make sure that you're solid, you're straight. Even in all of that, I'm praying over the cards. I'm praying over myself. I'm praying in my surroundings, my space. Nothing is clear. Nothing is clear. And I was like, okay, this is a sign that I'm leaning too much on this. Again, another outside thing rather than leaning on God and what he's saying. He, she, them, they, the all is saying. I'm leaning too much on that. And I'm not sensitive to hear the Holy Spirit, because I'm trying to search outside of myself. So I can't get the message clear. So sometimes God will do that, cause a little bit of a shake up in you, whatever, so that you can seek that divine counsel just personally between you and God, if that makes sense. So in this time, especially today, make sure your energy is like, focus on the divine of things. Like, stay focused, stay solid, stay balanced. It's the energy of twos. Again, they represent balance. They can represent the as above so below, masculine, feminine, can represent the yin and the yang, light and dark, however you want to look at it. And it's two fives, or sorry, fives. Yeah, twos times five. I think it's two fives, or God, can't even talk. 5 twos today, right? The date. And it equals 10 if you add that up. But if you single that into one digit, it's really a 1. And it made me think of the Fool and the Magician, the as above, so below principle. But the Fool is just like the void. The Fool card is 0 in the major arcana, right? So it makes you think of I'm going too much into this, but the 1 and the 10 is like a feminine, masculine principle. You have the 1, which is the masculine principle, the phallic, and then you have the 0, which is the feminine energy, which is the womb space. This is the energy of creative. You're creating an energy and you're bringing it into its full completion and its wholeness, and also leading into an energy of a newness, a new beginning, the one, the all. That's what I'm getting, the alpha and the omega. That's what I get from that energy. This energy is powerful. I'm trying to like make it make sense on a practical, mundane level, but like my spirit is channeling the energy in the body, and I'm trying to express it to you guys through words, and it may not make sense, but whoever gets it, you get it. I might be doing too much, but y'all get it. But Yeah, and 10 in the major arcana is the wheel of fortune. So yeah, this is like divine flow, fate, destiny. Things are unfolding and balancing, but it's a karmic flow and energy. Where you land on that karmic scale is really based off of where your energy is at, where your manifestations lie, where your energy is focused. If your energy is on a high vibe, of course you got to be looking out for those. It gets to a point, I don't know if anybody else notices this, but whenever you're in a high vibration and there's about to be a burst of a breakthrough of energy, I notice that I usually get attacked, and I feel like God is like giving like sneak peeks so you know how to handle it, so you don't waver in that. Again, stay focused on riding that wave so that you hit that wave. You get your surfboard, you're on point with it. You're not going to fall off of your surfboard because you're not looking down, you're not looking around you, you're not being distracted, you're not in a place of fear. And sometimes those interferences is our own self being a block, our fears, our sabotage. I don't want this message to be too long. I don't mean for it to be 15 minutes long. I'm live, so it is what it is. Really no rush, just delivering it as it comes. But I'll never forget this message from this woman. Her name is Anointed Fire on YouTube. And some of y'all may not like really be ready for her messages because she triggers the hell out of people. I tell you, like her messages, it was some points where I wasn't ready to watch some of her videos. Some people you can't sit and listen to all the way sometimes, because if you're not ready to receive the message, you'll get triggered, right? But trigger just show you where your healing lies. But this woman, Anointed Fire, she did a video and she was talking about some of her classes that she makes available for people to write. There goes again the writing. This was back in November when I watched this video. This is when I was in Hawaii, and that experience within itself was me overcoming a lot of fears in that moment in itself, and trusting God and in that process too. But I was listening to her video and she was saying how she would have like these classes or whatever with women, and they would be all optimistic and excited to start, but when it got into the nitty gritty, she started dealing with the wounds and the trauma that some of these women had, and they would have to write their, I think one of their one of their assignments were at the end of the class was to write a book or to publish the book that they wrote throughout the course or something like that. And she said that she would always have a few people that would drop out at the very last week or those last few days of the course because they couldn't hang. It was too much for them. And she said it was a spirit of sabotage. And she wrote, like, she drew out a little illustration of what it looks like, and it was a picture of a woman walking forward, but then it was like a chain or a cord around her neck that was like attached to other things that was pulling her back. So what happens is like when we're stepping into like that divine time, we're about to step in through that new door, there's something of the past, whether it's a thought pattern, whether it's a thought pattern that is attached to a trauma that is attached to a spirit, that spirit that is attached to something generational. It goes deep. If we don't deal with the root of things, we get pulled back. We get pulled back into these timelines again. That's why it's very important, like when you're about to be on the cusp of a breakthrough and you have those moments where you get tested and tried, you're not to respond the same way that you responded in the last season. You got to do something different to shift the energy. If you continue to respond the same way that you always did, you're going to be pulled back into the same experience. So it's like until we get the lesson, we're going to repeat it again until we do something different. And you got to dare to do something different. You got to be willing to step out on faith. You got to be in a place of trust. And it's fear, but you got to surmount that fear. You got to overcome that fear. Otherwise, it's going to keep you stuck in that loop. It does require that faith in something different. And it's like, it sounds crazy, but it's so easier to trust in the fear because that's all you've known. You stay stuck, and even if it's something that works against you, it's like day in and day out, you're used to that same cycle. You're used to that same storyline that you've been in or that you've told yourself. So anything that comes against that, that is better for you, it might be unknown. You don't know how it's going to work out. You don't have all of the certainties. It's scary to try it, but that we allow that fear of the unknown, or the